This is also, it's on. Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming, and we practice our daily chanting first, and then we see what we have.
Okay. So turn to page 1 in your prayer book. All mothers, sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Buddhahood. All mothers, sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of most perfect and precious Buddhahood.
Om Dala Dhamma Jibeda Nuba Jibege Dharma Dhan Jimbe Parta Jiba Dham Jiji Zo Jibe Ma Nanga Dhan Yambe Zen Dam Dewa Dan Den Dunga Dan Re Nyodo Lana Me Bayan Da Ba Zobe Jangje Rinpoche Do
Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind.
Ti je de san ma ji je par de le nga yi song
ge wa
la go ma ji wa de le nga yi song ge wa la go de re son de san da san ji wa de le nga yi song ge wa la go.
All sentient beings, limitless as the sky, take refuge in the glorious, kind Lama Vajradhara, the embodiment of the body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities of the Buddhas of the 10 directions and the 3 times, source of the 84,000 categories of the teaching and Lord of the Sanghas. We take refuge in the kind root Lama and lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deities of the mandalas of the Idams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom. We take refuge in the kind root Lama and lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deities of the mandalas of the Idams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom.
Mangre Tadang Nyambe Simchen Tamje Chochu Tu Somje Tijin Shikwa Tan Jiji Gu Son Toi Yoden Chunle Tan Jiki Mowar Chirwai Chuji Bombo Tongtra Jeju Zajin June Pakbe Gendu Tan Jiki Mada Chenchen Zawa Dan Jubara Jibe Palden Lama Tamba Namla Jas Chi O Yedan Kinkura Jel Hazo Namla Jas Ji Sanje Jonden De Namla Jas Ji O Tambe Ju Namla Jas Ji Pabbe Gendu Namla Jas Ji Bawa Kandro Chujung Sume So Yeshi Ji Jiandan Denpa Nam Gyazun Ji.
Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path. Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path.
Janjo Nyingbo Jiji Bar Sangye Namla Gyabsun Ji Jodan Janjo Samba Solan Deji Gyabsun Ji Jidai Munji Deji Gi Janjo Tone Gyabatan Janjo Zambi Labala Dadaran Jini Bada Dejin de la bendon de Janjo Zemne Gijin Dejin de ne la bala Rambajin de la Bayi.
In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings.
Sangye Chodan Soji Chonan La Janjo Bardu Dame Gyatsuji Dagi Jizo Jibe Son Namje Ndrola Benjire Sangye Ndroba.
May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
Namga Nyambe Samchen Tamje Dewa Dan Dewe Gyodan Dembara Joji Dungar Dan Dungar Gyodan Jarwa Joji Dungar Mebe Dewa Dan Mendrawa Joji Yere Jadan Yindan Darwe Don Yomlan Joji.
Refuge of all sentient beings without exception, divine subjugator of terrifying Maras, together with their hosts of demons, the one who understands all realities without exception exactly as they are, transcendent conqueror, together with your disciples, please come here to this place.
Banzar Zamanza, Banzar Zamanza, Banzar Zamanza, Malu Samchen Kunjeng Gongjurchen, Dude
Pungje,
Mize Jumze Lai, Gona Malu Jijin Jenjore, Jonde Korjin Ender Jesus. Padam Puspe Dupe Alogen Gende Nende Shabda Bardiza Zoha.
The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Meru, the serene mountain, the four continents, and the sun and moon. As a Buddha field I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha fields. Whatever merit I've gathered through prostrations, offerings, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, for the sake of the enlightenment of all sentient beings, all this is dedicated.
Sanje Shen La Mete Parwaye Drokun Namda Shende Jewa Jo Chan Sarwa Dan Kyujin Kyaba Dan Yesu Yeran Goshin Sowa Kewa Junze Dange Jezaba Tamje Zobe Janjo Jermo.
Okay, on to page 11. Namo, to the Lama of utterly pure appearance and existence, I offer the fundamental ground of appearance and existence. I supplicate you to thoroughly liberate the three realms. Please grant your blessings and overturn the depths of samsara. Sublime Master, wish-fulfilling jewel, crown ornament, the inconceivable, inexpressible mind of the victorious ones, the one endowed with the five wisdoms of omniscience, gracious one, the embodiment of love, Precious protector of beings, I supplicate you from within the essence of mind. Please grant your blessings from within the innate nature. Please bless me that I may realize the Dharmakaya that is beyond intellect, this primordially unborn, completely pure mind, transcendent conqueror, the one thus gone, foe destroyer of afflictive emotions, completely perfected Buddha, endowed with logic and virtue, the one gone to bliss, knower of the world, captain, tamer of beings, the unexcelled teacher of gods and men. I respectfully prostrate, completely touching my head to the stainless feet of the unequaled Shakya king. At the time of your birth, leader of two-legged beings, taken 7 steps on this great earth you proclaim, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, even then I prostrate. Possessing a body of complete purity, your sublime form is excellent. An ocean of primordial wisdom, you are like an older mountain. The one whose renown is evident throughout the 3 worlds, protector of supreme attainment, to you I prostrate. To you who are endowed with the supreme marks, whose face is like an immaculate moon, to you, the one with a complexion like gold, I prostrate. A flawless one such as you among the 3 levels of existence is most exquisite. Unparalleled, omniscient one, to you I prostrate. Supreme among humans, captain of those to be tamed, the one thus gone who severs the all-binding fetters, who with senses pacified is utterly pacified and skilled in peace. To that one, the one who dwelled at Shravasti, I prostrate. Refuge endowed with great compassion, totally omniscient one who indicates the way, ground bases for oceans of merit and qualities, I prostrate to the one thus gone. The pure cause free from attachments, the virtue that liberates from the lower realms, the altogether supreme ultimate truth, to the pacifying Dharma I prostrate. Having been liberated, they also reveal the path to liberation. Thoroughly respectful of the 3 higher trainings, they are a field of sublime qualities. To the Sangha, I also prostrate. And back to page 9.
Namo Nansi Namdaki Lama Nansi Sheshen Socho Bambo Kamsa Yondro Zowande Kurwa Dondro Zinjelo Yi Norwa Zoge Masan Gyume Gyawedo Kimbe Jeng Adan Dan Zewe Dani Garije Gowa Jamze Rinpoche Dazemi Jeng Ame Zorwande Chumji Jeng Anda Ijingi Lo Zendone Jeme Nambande Lunde Chugo Dobar Jinji Lo Ejom Dende Tishin Jirwa Rajumba Yandawar Zofe Sanje Rikwa Dan Jabza Damba Dewa Jirwa Injiten Jimba Jiva Andorwa Kalo Jirwa Laname Ladame Namje Tomba Nyame Shai Jijarbu Jabji Dor Chema Me Balam Go Rabza Dot Kubi Janza Loi Ganze Ganye Zoi Judanze Sajen De La Gumba De Horani Nane Jiten Danai Joji Zoin Dezem Gebai Julai Janzalo Namdai Gurmai Jodo Zozon Ishi Janzo Sergi Lumbondra Drabai Jiten Zomnai Langewa Gombo Joni Julai Janzalo Senjo tenpa chemin dawe jai sendong dawa chula chansa lo dodai chundra sipa son ze nyami chen chen chula chansa lo Menjo ndorwa kalo junze chen kunjo chingwa junze te jen Wamba Yeshi Yeshi Shalanke Yu Shuba de la Chanza Lo Gombo Tuje Chedamba Tamje Jemba Tomba Sunai Yoden Janzo Tishi Shela Janza Lo Tabando Jai Ravi Giving us on liberation. Jedo Todan Jojo Shijuru Chulai Janzalo Trune Druvi Lamyan Tan Lava Tala Ravig Shingi Tamba Yoden Shin Kendu Layan Janzalo.
And then to page 15. I prostrate to the youthful Manjusri, to those in worlds of the 10 directions, however many there are, all the lions among humans who appeared during the 3 times, to all of them without exception, I pay homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The force of my aspiration prayer for excellent conduct brings all the victorious ones directly to mind. Bowing down with bodies as numerous as atoms in the realms, I prostrate to all the victorious ones. In a single atom, there are Buddhas as numerous as atoms, each residing in the midst of their sons and daughters. Like that, I imagine the whole Dharmadhatu completely filled with victorious ones. To those with oceans of inexhaustible praiseworthy qualities, with sounds containing oceans of tones of melodic speech, I express the qualities of all the victorious ones. I praise all the Sugatas. With the finest flowers, the finest garlands, music, ointments, supreme parasols, supreme lamps, and the finest incense, I make offerings to the victorious ones. With the finest cloths, supreme scents, and fine powders equal to Mount Meru, all displayed in supreme and magnificent ways, I make offerings to those victorious ones. With vast and unsurpassable offerings, I venerate all the victorious ones. Through the power of faith and excellent conduct, I prostrate and offer to the victorious ones. Whatever negative actions I have performed with body, speech, and also mind, overpowered by desire, aggression, and stupidity, I confess each and every one of them. I rejoice in everyone's merit, the victorious ones of the 10 directions, the Bodhisattvas, the Pratyeka Buddhas, those in training, those beyond training, and all beings. I request the protectors, the lamps of the worlds of the 10 directions, who passing through the stages of awakening attain Buddhahood beyond attachment, to turn the unsurpassable Dharma wheel. I supplicate with my palms joined together those who tend to demonstrate nirvana to remain for kalpas as numerous as atoms in the realms, for the welfare and happiness of all beings. I dedicate whatever slight virtue is accumulated through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and supplicating to enlightenment. And to page 14.
Page 14?
Yeah.
Okay. Baba Jamba Juna Jawala Janza Lo Jinye Soda Chuchu Jitana Tuzan Jekpa Me Senge Gundake Malu Dada Tamje La Ludang Aye Tangwe Chaje Sambo Jobe Malana Dola Ge Jawa Tamje Yije Mazan
Zingi Dunye Lura Tabaye Jarwa Kunda Chapu Jalo Durje Dena Dunye Sanje Na Sanje Ziji Una Shubada Deta Chuji Yena Maluba Tamji Jarwa Dage Kanwamo Tata Ngaba Meze Janso Na Yongji Yanla Janso Dragonji Jarwa Gunji Yoden Rabju Jen Devare Shivba Tamji Dage Meto Damba Tenwa Damba Dansin Namda Shivba Dongjo Marme Jodan Tupu Tamba Ye Jarwa Tada Lanen Chubaji Naza Damba Namda Chunjo Dan Jimni Permai Rai Nyamba Kuba Chibara Babi Chogun Ji Jarwa Tada Layan Chubaji Joba Gana Lami Jajewa Dada Jarwa Tamji Layam Sambo Jula Tibi Dobdangi Jarwa Gunlai Chanzaren Chubaji Jocha Jedam Demo Wangi Ludan Atan Tijin Yiji Deba Dagi Jiba Jinji Bai Dedai Tamji Dagi Sososha Joju Jarwa Kundan Sanje Ze Ranja Namdan Lobdan Mela Rwa Gunji Zonan Ganayan Deda Gunji Jizo Daira Kanan Joju Jiden Droma Dai Janjo Rambar Sanje Majan Gumbo Deda Dagi Tamji Lan Kolo Lana Mebar Gowar Nyangan Dada Kanji Dada Lan Doa Gun La Fenxing Deve Karwa Jingi Dunyi Yu Dagi Dharmo Raja Zorwa Chansarwa Dan Jujin Xiaoba Dan Jisu Yiran Korshin Sowa Kewa Junze Dagi Jizaba Tamji Zobe Jujengo.
Page 16. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the two vehicles and their combination according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings.
Namji Samba Dan Loyi Jira Jitawa Chechon Tumon Tekbaye Jujen Kolo Kordo Zo Duzan Zonje Dan Jejin Oire Don Jingor Jam Sak Cham Do Karin Zong Me Do Jedan Hingam Song Juji Jarbo Shabje Bemo Dor Mijin Jima Javalango Rada Dude Gozon Kuba Chembu Gone Jan Zarshin Jazon Jeo Jevane Zarab Jin Jengwa Dam Jedo Tozewa Chembu Gone Jeso Zonde Jushin Jela Banza Dozo Konge Jarzon Dave Mengon Kesam Zamben Dan Rajin Zempe Sevo Zendro Sarvin Drogun Mege Dezirjo Dojin Dama Kune Jiren Jiten Zomjin Kong Chabe Tom Bema Garbo Dere Palo Yenzo Jon Urgen Solen Pimi Dombo Ze Jarbe Namro Ronjong Lunje Chon Sanzo Peye Yoden Som Barve Pimanju Nedal Benzor Jon Shinji Tengu Yijin Sik Bin Chen Zi Jin Go Rab Gong Shin Drogun Zemo Mamba Zer Zi Lo Drogun Di Nyan De Jur Gu Dong Yi Shi Zhi Ba Mi Gong Chu Yin Ka Lan Zi Ba Jambar Chon Gun Ne Ge Zo Gin Chu Yin Cho Ben Ma Kar Fon Zan Bi Ju Lu Zong Wa Zer Dong Ge Cha Wa Jin Yin Ge Men Ser Lo Rong Cho Zor Wei Yang Jin Nga Ge Dai Jang Kare Zogarin Jin Yung Bongo Yoden Gun Yung Gavi Jizar Ten Yung Budong Zik Bibi Nan Jerva Chimmi Vizre Shabji Dai Jang Jingmi Juji Wombora Guja Anza Riton Jambar Shani Shinlale Gombe Longle Bobe Derji Longdo Yunzi Jamson Adan Hamjam Yonam Jala Guja Anza Yadan Sanji Gun Tonyam Nayan Gandhi Sanji Gun Lilabing Zavelam Mishala Zarvanda Asundra Velona Chula Ejur. Okay, I think we need to check our motivation. If you have really good motivation, then you still can maybe improve that. If you think you need to change or improve your motivation, we have time to do that. And during this teaching or even just now, either way. And our main teaching is this text, Longchenpa's text. So now we all know who Longchenpa is, and we also taste his teachings that at least through this book, we can see how important he is and his teachings are. It has been for a while, and we always, at least for me, I need to remind me where we are, because it's been for a while already. And so this teaching is somehow very general, because it talks about all the basics of Buddhist teachings, that how samsara created through our delusional mind, and how maybe when we can resolve this, if we think this is a problem. So this book didn't really say samsara is a big problem, but of course people take very seriously that samsara is a big problem. And so that is the main thing for Noble Truth. Often I mention that because seems recognizing suffering is most important thing, because most of the time we don't realize that we are in a very dire situation, that without knowing we are involved such problems. And then, of course, the cause of suffering and so forth, we chant that all mother sentient beings here, and those the cause of suffering. So these two are very important subject that we need to know why we are sort of learning or practice a Dharma text or Dharma sadhanas that we often use. And mainly our daily practice include everything you can see there, from bodhicitta to changing motivation to guru yoga and so forth. And then there is profound meaning of these appearances and the possibilities, or appearances and existence, all we can treat as a guru our Guru. And this book is very much talks about that, so we can slowly read our book. But before that, I want to remind us that this book has 13 chapters, and the early up to 9 is all about the ground. We now already know what's ground mean. Ground is sort of stable. Anything you wanted to build or house or any other things, the foundational things we call is ground. So the ground have to kind of stable. And then it comes with view. So view means how you treat or how you see things as it is called a view. So that view will need to, in order to fully gain or fully understand the reality, the view need to sort of establish through we call meditation, which is often treated as a path. If you practice, say, path, then what you can do is meditate or do good things. That is called conduct. And then what we can achieve is often we call nirvana, and of course nirvana is often described as peace and tranquility and those things. So the ground understanding through view that is by or through practicing meditation and so forth, and finally what we achieve or free from suffering, that is core fruit. And we are in chapter 2 still. That's a good thing. And also good news is that this chapter title in English say, "A Working Mind as a Pure Realm." So our own mind nature is as a working mind or enlightened mind or whatever you want to use. Sometimes people don't like use enlightenment. That is heavily drawn in our Christian term. And Buddha, we often say Sanskrit term, and Tibetan we have Sangye, and both talks about or means awaken or awakened. So something you are awake from sleep or awake from ignorant or anything what you want. If you have better words, you also can choose that, yeah. And also another languages maybe have different, sometimes German or French or Spanish or anything, maybe better words there. And then this also, the chapter subtitle is The Universe of Appearances and Possibilities Arising as Pure Realm. So we say the universe of appearance means what we see, and the possibility is what any possible things that you can think of, all arise from or manifest from the pure realm or our own mind nature, and keep that in mind, and then we can read our text. So now we see if anyone has exactly where we stopped, or
as well the cities of the six classes on page 19.
okay, we haven't read that yet. Okay, I read Tibetan first, and then we can read English together. If you read Tibetan, read with me. Kurveran yin dodo tangche jong kyun nong le song nyen sharwa zang jeshi de do na tsong nong yang sim ji long der de moy. Me la yo lam nong la ye me bin ka la jin jin lo wor jin jong zang yo mi me rong yin ta de ve zhu zhe te le ngang de wo pyo. English.
As well, the cities of the six classes of beings, whose nature is that of samsara, are simply reflections arising within the scope of the basic space of phenomena. Moreover, the various manifestations of birth and death, pleasure and pain, are like phantasmagoria within this expanse, mind itself. Although they do not exist, they appear to, and in manifesting they have no basis. And so they are like clouds in the sky, simply occurring adventitiously due to circumstances. Neither existent nor non-existent, they are by nature beyond extremes, fully encompassed within the sphere of being, free of elaboration.
Mm-hmm. Of course, any Buddhist philosophical text, when we use these to learn the meaning of Dharma, often we need to deal with two things. Often Madhyamikas, or the middle way. Tradition treats these two things can treat differently. In conventionally or relative truth, is we can treat as a rise based on the delusional things. We feel that since there's real world out there, and also harms and so forth, that we experience suffering and so forth. That core, all these appearances and possibilities, which means anything that appears arise from our delusional thought, until our ignorant or delusional mind, or whatever we call, subside or eliminates, it will appear. We just cannot stop seeing things. And that's true as when we talk or teaching, that's true as seems as separate. It's called conventional truth or relative truth. So here, truth means that not it is truth, but it's when we don't see it as true. We don't see it as conventional. We see these things are solid and inherently exist. And when we say truth, these truths are for the it's called noble ones, but means one who see the relative truth. There's no core essence, or what itself does never exist in the first place. That's why it's relative. It's truth as seen as illusion rather than see as real thing. And then, of course, we are really seeking or try to understand the ultimate reality. The ultimate reality is not obvious things that we easily see or easily understand, because our concept or thoughts or these understanding is pretty much based on dualistic thoughts that rise from ignorance or delusion. And we often see this side, not the other side. That's why it's called paramita, means the other shore. Yet you're going to the other shore. It's not this shore. So the English translate as a perfection, but really means you need to go over, cross the river to get the other shore, which is nirvana, which is not samsara. And so sometimes in these texts, samsara means this side and nirvana means that side, but then of course this division is just arbitrary, and we don't really have that much division. So the main thing while we are learning these texts, I think the good method is to let open our mind, to give a room for more than can fit more than what we can chew, so or what we can bite. A little bit, yeah. And of course, then here say as well the 6 cities of the classes of the beings whose nature is that of samsara. You can see the samsara attitude as the 6 classes of beings as samsara. Simple reflections arise within the scope of the basic space of phenomena, or Dharmadhatu. The samsara itself is arise from the Dharmadhatu. So which means, of course, Dharmadhatu here seems a Dharmadhatu as cause, but it's not saying Dharmadhatu is cause to rise as samsara, but samsara itself has no nature or no entity. That's why the illusion, we can say, rise from Dharmadhatu, because there's no other than a Dharmadhatu in reality. And moreover, the various manifestations of birth and death, pleasure, pain, that's often we talk about in our daily life, are like a phantasmagoria within this expanse. So it's more, the English is phantasmagoria is seems more fun rather than these birth, death. Of course, Buddhists treat the birth as also suffering, and death, pleasure, and pain. These all sort of more fun than just really someone die. We need to do kind of funeral things and mourn and so forth, and other stuff. Even pain itself is a good thing sometimes, maybe, if we can treat. And the mind itself, so that within this expanse means the mind itself. There's even the early sutras already talk about this mind-only school. That's another debatable term, but at least mind is more settled than the body. So body is, we can see, we can feel, but the mind is more settled. Although they do not exist, they appear too, and in the manifesting, they have no basis, and so they are like clouds in the sky, simply occurring advantageously due to circumstances. So these samsaric things are not occur because of the various cause and the conditions and so forth. It's occurring advantageously. But these concepts, of course, we need to, earlier mentioning that we give a little bit room for this concept, because this is a little bit go beyond our sutras talk about cause and causal relationships, that if you do virtue, you will be born in a good place and you will have more chance to practice Dharma and so forth and so on. So these are neither existent nor non-existent. Of course, that is you can hear or you can see almost everywhere in the Buddhist texts. That means our conceptual mind sometimes can think about existing things, or existing means something we can see. And the non-existent means nothing, yeah? So, but beyond these two, then our mind is helpless or crippled, that we cannot do much. So sometimes, I don't know what you think, but we can think ourselves that our intellect or our mind or our thinking capacity or power, how much we can know. I mean, there's very limited, I think. And they are by nature beyond extremes. Extremes we know that existent, non-existent, both, neither, and so forth. Full encompassed with the sphere of being, free from elaboration. So elaboration means you can say, we can say many things, but these reality is beyond elaborations or expressions or terms and so forth. And then next one, and I think we can read with the next page until the end of chapter. Simni Shanjom Simni Ayen Kadrada Beje Dedo Mobori Min Grunde Jule Duran de Jemen Song Kang Rayon Min Jurmen Bolun Rum Dama Shi Uzara Dora Ye Nying Bo Song Ji Be Dam Je Gun Jang Rong Yung Devi Sunyam Shang Jom Jogin Oni To Yun Bujen Dole Nong Si Xin Kam So Xiar Lewe De Yimba.
Mind itself, that is, the nature of the awakened mind, is pure like space, and so is without birth or death, pleasure or pain. It has no substance or delimit it, and free from the phenomena of samsara and nirvana. It cannot be characterized as something, and being an infinitely spacious expanse, it is unchanging, without transition, spontaneously present and uncompounded. Given that the Buddhahood lies within the Vajra heart essence of utter lucidity, everything is a naturally occurring realm of bliss, the very context of sublime enlightenment and a state of spontaneous equalness.
Yeah, read that too.
Everything is subsumed.
No, this is the second section.
Oh, this is the second section of the precious treasury of the basic space of phenomena concerning the universe of appearances and possibilities arising as a pure realm.
Yeah, when you chant or read these texts, also read every line, even the chapter titles that are important. And of course, we love bodhicitta, yeah, that our precious jewel. And these texts again and again mention the bodhicitta or awakened mind. And here, the awakened mind is describing a little bit differently or even more profoundly that often we use this bodhicitta has conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta, and then conventional bodhicitta has these aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta, so and so forth. But this is much more ultimate bodhicitta, and mind itself. The English is Tibetan too, but English is interesting that the term mind itself, as it sounds mind, I don't know, when we say mind, it seems like the concept of what's thinking process or thoughts, but mind. But Tibetan, this simnyit makes, it's not just an ordinary mind. It's not mind itself. It's more the nature of mind, and that is the nature of waking mind. Again, but this bodhicitta, that's the nature of mind is bodhicitta, and it's pure like space, and so it's the without the birth or death, pleasure or pain. Early we talk about the samsara have these, at least seems it has characteristics of birth, death, pleasure, and the pain. But this awakened mind, or our mind nature, doesn't have these characteristics or beyond these characteristics. And it has no substance to delimit its, and it's free of the phenomena of samsara and nirvana. Of course, when we say samsara and nirvana means include everything. It's almost saying the same thing as appearances and possibilities. It's saying that samsara and nirvana encompass everything, and also appearances and possibilities as well. It cannot be characterized as something. Of course, the bodhicitta or mind nature, you cannot pinpoint to say this is something. And being in an infinitely spacious expanse, it is unchanging without transition, spontaneously present. So this is famous phrase that in the Dzogchen term use Luntrup often used as spontaneously present or spontaneous presence. Either way means you cannot change, you cannot add anything, you cannot subtract everything. It's always in that way. And uncompounded, of course, it's without cause and condition that not created this particular our working mind. Given that Buddhahood lies within the Vajra heart essence of utter lucidity, everything is a naturally occurring realm of bliss, the very context of sublime enlightenment, a state of spontaneous equalness. So those are talking about either we call Buddhahood or the mind nature or awakened mind. These are synonyms in this text. This is the second section of the Precious Treasury of the Dharmadhatu concerning the universe of appearances and possibilities rising as a pure realm. So Tibetan and English rising as a pure realm or rising in the domain of pure realm. So that is as pure realm is a little bit difficult to understand for me in English. I think Tibetans could translate the universe of appearances, possibilities arising in the pure realm, and could be it means it's not go beyond. But possibility, if we read as what we have in English translation here, to say that impure substances arise as pure substances, a little bit, we can treat it in that way, but this wording is a little bit difficult to handle it. If you are good at those, doesn't matter, but if you already can treat impure substance as a pure substance, then it's fine. But it's also, you cannot treat that way, then want to make a little bit sense to, there's a little bit process to saying impure things arise in the domain of pure realm would be useful or maybe helpful to understand. That is our second chapter, and here maybe I pause a little bit if anyone has questions and comments and wanted to clarify anything, we can discuss a little bit here. Each chapter we do a little bit. Online? Not yet. Okay. Okay, good. Then means very clear, and that's the purpose of learning. Yeah.
Well, actually, here where it says it cannot be characterized as something. Mm-hmm. So, are you saying that it just is?
Maybe.
Well, that was big enough. Oh,
so.
My bad. So just here at the end where it says that it cannot be characterized as something. So does that mean it just is? So we don't pinpoint it as just something?
Yeah, I think English is more always concrete than Tibetan. So it's Tibetans sometimes can treat a little bit loosely, but English makes something as then sounds like a something that I mean, how we treat things separately, yeah? This is samsara, this is nirvana, and then when we say our mind nature, then it's something, or it's when we say our mind nature, or awakened mind, or Buddha, or Pure Land. When we talk about that, do we treat that as something? So that they're talking about. And of course, the logic behind is anything when we use affirmation or positive statement that we are concretizing something, some verbal object or the mental objects that we are creating. Adding that, we thought Sims is famous Indian Pramana tradition that the concept and how we treat things and concept arise with when we create an objects, but we don't necessarily, the concept cannot create real objects. But the mental object is created in a concept through terms. When we say our Dongwa Chongchubling in the Tempa Bay, and so the verbal phrase and how we think creates this particular location, Buddhist temple in our mind.
Okay.
And that's sort of concretizing, and that kind of creation in our mind is talking about the thing we cannot really
Like something you
conceptually create a waking mind. We cannot create that, or we cannot, or is of course we wrongly can create it, but it's not real. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, then we have
Khenpo.
Okay.
There's a question from Corey.
Okay.
I think it's a question he says, where they say, is language the matrix?
Yeah, the matrix is, I don't know, what does the matrix mean?
It's a movie.
Sort of like
I know movie based on something.
Sort
yeah.
of like a conceptual...
Avatar is a movie, but it's coming from Sanskrit.
Yeah, it has
Avatar.
something to do with
Yeah.
Right, it either means
So
the
matrix can pass through something that without interfering, or
It's almost like a realm, like a conceptual, it's almost like a conceptual framework that creates a realm in which one becomes stuck. It's very much like samsara, but it's very much like, it's a conceptual framework. It's something you can become stuck within the mind. It's hard.
Always in their mind in the movie, so it's like a. It's very good, actually.
It's a very good representation of samsara.
matrix.
Yeah, that's in the movie.
So someone on Zoom is saying a matrix is a substrate out of which other things can grow.
So language is then?
So is language like a matrix?
Seems like, yeah.
Yeah.
But
We can create realms out of our language, right? And then live in those realms, even though they might be abstracted from what is actually happening in our lives. Maybe is one way to think of it.
But the interesting thing is, yes, 1 minute.
The Latin word mother or womb originally, and then pregnant animal, pregnancy. But it's been
Maybe
used for things like, originally it comes from the Latin for mother or womb.
Oh, wow.
The idea of being pregnant animals. And it's since then been used for things like engineering with columns of figures and so forth, like an internet web.
Oh,
But I
wow.
think the concept of coming from mother is interesting.
Oh, wow. Matrix mother. Yeah, that's really interesting because these days, people try to understand this term, a matrix, use matrix as not as translated this very close term in Tibetan, the yin, chu yin, we saw the basic here used as basic space of phenomena, but more Dharmadhatu, that more, if we use, I sometimes like to use short terms rather than long term. The yin used as expanse. For me, it's better to use expanse. Here, yin used as a basic space, and then long used as expanse. But others want to use this long as matrix. So what you are saying is helpful because this long is some sort of inner womb or inner kind of secret core that can things rise from that. So that the case language is not. If we think about matrix as a source, then language is not the source. I often use, I don't know, I'm wrong or right, but we humans are meaning makers here. We can produce meaning. So that's the kind of, we are machine that can produce meaning. So meaning is coming from our I don't know what to say, but wrapped into these concepts and labels to produce from us. Yes, please.
The Oxford Dictionary says matrix is the cultural, social, or political environment in which something develops. And then Cambridge Dictionary says it is a set of conditions that provides a system in which something grows or develops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, seems kind of a wide range of meaning in the matrix, but seems mother's womb would close when we use here, but then languages matrix is another understanding.
I correct me if please if my interpretation is wrong, but I usually use the word matrix when I'm talking to someone that is not Buddhist to explain the concept of samsara, because what we're missing here is that the mind has different levels according, to the teachings. We have the psyche, the substrate conscious, and the Buddha mind. And what you're teaching about us right now is the Dharmadhatu, which is the Buddha mind. And that will be the space of phenomena or the source. In the Western understanding, what they're describing as matrix will be more like psyche, because our psyche is the illusion, is what gives a concept and uses language as a tool to grasp the phenomena and say, this is this, this is that, this is that. So language will be a tool in samsara to grasp the objects and identify them. But all that is in the samsara realm, which is very different from what I understand from you, from the Dharmadhatu. The Dharmadhatu cannot be pinpoint or described because it's not human. So we cannot reference it. So I think it's very important that we don't get confused between the different levels of the mind according to the Buddhist teaching and get confused with the Western terms like matrix. It's not the same thing. Samsara will be more similar to the concept of matrix because our mind's constantly producing illusions. Mm-hmm. Am I in the right direction?
I never say wrong. That's not my vocabulary. But we can think about since matrix. That's why I'm keep asking, because I don't understand what does matrix really mean. Yeah. Since at least we have a lot of sources and a lot of good sources in there. Since you are right that matrix could be wrong term for Dharmadhatu. Mm-hmm. However, if that's what the origin of that term is mother's womb, then it perfectly fits, because Dharmadhatu is treated as a mother's womb. So that is this afternoon we will have Guhya Garbha. So the Garbha is mother's womb, and the Guhya is a secret mother womb, or sometimes translated as secret essence, but really Garbha is the mother's womb. So that means the source of the everything. So since, of course, the matrix is, they make matrix movie, and so since there's a wide range of the understanding, but exactly. At least it sounds like at least talk about source. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's we learn slowly terms that maybe matrix itself is important, because I'm trying to use long as matrix, but without knowing what does that mean. Yeah, exactly.
There's more than one though. Like 3 or 4.
Yeah. So we use the basic space for a long time. Even now, our mind, basic space is stuck in our mind, and we couldn't even change to Dharmadhatu. Yes, please.
So my difficulty in understanding this treasury, I think, derives from my difficulty understanding even a lot of Western philosophy, which contains concepts that are not equivalent to these quite, but similar in some ways, very, very abstract concepts. So the question I have concerns the interfacing between what I would call samsaric mind and ultimate mind or space. And so how do you make the jump? How can you make that jump using samsaric mind at all? Or is that only another delusion can you only make the jump by somehow arriving through meditation, other practices, in catching, for me, kind of catching the tail of bodhicitta at first, not even fully arriving at bodhicitta, but just catching the tail. And then, well, what purpose does samsaric mind have at all in that process? I mean, these are words on a page. We can only understand them initially, first stage, initially, through samsaric mind. So thinking back to your question, well, maybe the matrix is all of that, both delusion and ultimate bodhicitta. But I don't know if that's an answer either. But I guess the question is, how do you answer anything?
Exactly. That's yeah, if we think about how I answer or anyone try to answer the questions, not only particular questions, any questions, of course, that what we would say, we only can use our concept and language. Maybe sometimes some gestures, but most of the time, when humans, we communicate through. So that's what we have, our tool. But here, that this teaching is try to give a different, another level of understanding. If we Buddhists would say the deeper meaning. And what this book trying to explain is saying delusion means totally wrong. Totally wrong means whatever we think or see or hear or taste is totally wrong, because what we are just this matrix of delusion. And that doesn't necessarily mean we don't hear or experience, but here wants to either this book is talking about our ordinary mind or our ordinary beings may not feel or see or experience in this way, but so that's why it's wanted to talk about view, that view, how you correct your understanding, match with, aligns with the what it is. So here, this ironically, we human mind or the samsaric mind may never fully understand what it is, but anyway, we only have tools that can think and talk. So based on that, giving this information, so we may never understand what this book's talking about. But then other way of thinking is that Dzogchen teachings claim that if you, not you, but we are lucky enough to realize master to devoted students, and then somehow there's these karmic bonds could arise or could let up our mind to. That's why we have called introducing your mind nature and pointing your mind nature. So that's even criticized by other lineages because ordinary beings cannot experience extraordinary things like awakened mind or Buddha nature or Buddhahood itself. So these are often have a little bit different way of understanding or people treat in a differently. But one is doesn't really match. It's our conceptual mind is totally, according to the book, is covered by sort of ignorance, and then the reality is totally sort of unwilled. So it's these two are very difficult to match.
Or could it be a feeling too, though? Like the connection that you say, could it be like a feeling?
Just use that one, that's okay.
Yeah, first.
No, John, no. Well, I was just wondering if like the connection that you speak about is you speak about the mind, but could it also be like a feeling?
Which one?
Like
the samsara?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, when we say appearances and possibilities, means anything what you think about is not there.
Right.
It's talking about. Experience doesn't count as a warrant because that's your experience. It doesn't mean would be there. That's even the middle way school already reject that kind of. What you see, what you hear is not valid because that what we do humans doesn't mean it's there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Joe?
Well, getting back to your question, my understanding about this is that the recommendation is to relax into effortless immediacy and to kind of, right? Oh, okay. So I repeat, yeah. The recommendation is to relax into a deep state of effortless appreciation of immediacy, wakeful immediacy. And so that there isn't this grunting and straining for meaning, right? Basic, I don't know. That's not putting that out.
Yeah, that often teachings comes, but I think main thing need to know the method. Method is earlier I was saying that realized master to devoted student. So there's some method to show you. If not, relaxing and kind of without thought, these are already in the books. So, but there's still important part is methods that need to know.
So John wanted to make a note. He had to run for a second, but this is from Mipa Rinpoche's commentary, The Essence of Clear Light on the Gyugabra Tantra. And in the translator's note, it says something about matrix, the way that they translated it here. So I'll just read the opening paragraph. It says, according to the wisdom intent of the great Indian Pandit Kukuradza, there are 18 great classes of tantras. Among them, the tantra of the magical manifestation matrix, the secret essence, is considered the general tantra of enlightened mind. Many of the greatest accomplished scholars and practitioners of the past have composed extensive and brief commentaries based upon this tantra. And in the footnote, it says the matrix is translated as from the Tibetan Gyatro Drawa. Jutro.
Yeah.
Drawa, yeah. So I don't know if that was helpful, but John wanted to point that out.
Jutro, I think it often translates as magical illusion. Or nirvana.
Yeah.
Both. Yeah. Yeah.
So and there's some questions online, Khenpo.
Okay.
So we just have to go back, start this one, right? We can make that announcement later.
We will use matrix, and now better to know what we are talking about.
Looks like maybe no questions actually.
No?
No, it looks like just comments people are making.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like comments too. What they say?
So yes, originally the question was about language as a matrix, and then Peter Hong said language is just a convention. James Vitale said Dharmadhatu or Choyung means source, so does matrix. Rinchen Sering said language is based on concepts, conventions, agreements. It is something quite relative or confined. James then responded, yes, but as the Prasangikas say, relative reality is nothing but designations using names and labels, or said another way, relative reality is just concepts and language. And then James also said at the bottom, experience does not count as a warrant. Khenpo means ordinary perceptions are not counted as valid cognition.
How about everything is just matrix?
I think that sounds good. That's what the movie is
Yeah.
Everything is about the matrix, so.
Yeah, everything is a concept already, so everything's the not only language and nirvana itself is a concept. So that's what I learned from this book. So we are not choosing good versus bad, We are not saying samsara is a good thing.
So that seems to present a paradox. This is a question I come back to again and again, but if everything is a matrix, samsara and nirvana, it's all a concept. And as you said before, I don't know exactly the words you used, but something like we're living in a complete delusion, right, for the most part. So then how do we know what to trust? Because this choice is part of the matrix, this choice is a part of the matrix, even going towards nirvana is a part of the matrix, then there's no way out. It's always, we're being rubber banded back to where we started. So how do you deal with that paradox, Khenpo?
Exactly. That's we like to, in our life, we think we could make good choice and so forth. We often make choices that we choose something. So that's the root of samsara. Yeah.
Is the choice itself?
Making choice is the root of samsara. And we don't know where we are going, but hopefully we are going a better place. That's what we are doing now. But it's not necessarily we are going a better place. I know you don't like we don't like bad news, but it's because we trust ourselves to make choice based on that, and probably not going anywhere, and hopefully not end up in a very troublesome place. And so earlier I already mentioned that we don't have much choice. I mean, so what they say, too much choice is not no choice.
Yeah, there's this quote by Michael Conklin. I think he's a Buddhist teacher, but he said something like, we have as much room to move as a violin in a violin case. In other words, like our amount of ability to make a choice is very limited. Like, it's like, yeah.
So one thing everyone hates this term, ignorant faith. I only have that. If that's, I think, is a very good term, because samsaric beings are ignorant, and not Christian way of saying we are sinners, but we are too. But so we are just relying on our faith. And Buddha said the ultimate reality is only realized through faith. And mainly we are trust in something too. That's why I'm saying the parents, as soon as the children born, they wanted to send to a better education system, because it can make their life would be much better. Without education, it's much worse. Yeah. So that's a kind of choice we can make, but putting in a institutional educational system doesn't mean you can make better either. So it's so that's kind of we try to make our best. We hope it will yield something, but that doesn't necessarily mean our choice is a good choice. So we are hopeful. Yeah.
Brian Lee has a comment, Khenpo, and a question, looks like. Brian is saying, I think a video example where it shows a guy standing next to a baby girl playing. All of a sudden, he tried to hold the girl and ran away. The mother saw that and hit the person with the fist. A second or two later, she heard a vase fallen, broke next to her. Only then she knew the stranger saved her daughter. Is pure and unbiased view on others one of the practices to see nirvana state of everyday life? Is pure and unbiased view of others one practice to see the nirvana state of everyday life?
Yeah, that's kind of we have best hope, but we try to make best choice, and who knows if it's best choice or not.
Maybe we're in the matrix right now.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the problem is often rise. I'm correct. I'm the best. My religion and my, so it comes once you have this kind of certainty that makes a lot of problems. Yeah. People often fight, or religious fighting each other means my religion's the correct one, yours not. So that kind of even among on lineage or sect that have troubles. But sorry if this is just encouraging you. As I'm sorry, sometimes unnecessary things come out, but at least there is someone would say in these kind, so please forgive me that part. Maybe just encouraging that. Okay, then that's good. But who cares? Everything's in matrix of awakened mind. So.
Excellent. Thank you for trusting us with the truth.
Be happy.
It's one thing to tell fairy tales, it's another thing to tell us the truth. So thank you.
Yeah.
No, it's hurtful.
Yeah.
Not
Even
hurtful,
we
but-
wanted to kind of get away from this matrix of awakened mind, we cannot get out. We are stuck in here. So we are somehow lucky that we have not much choice. So we're stuck in here rather than be happy and stuck in a matrix rather than making good choice to how to get away from these comfort zone.
Okay, you've seen the movie. You just explained it.
Yeah. Okay. Now we are chapter 3. So chapter 3 is much more.
So Khenpo, we only have, so the handouts only go up to chapter 2, but there are a few people that have the books and we have the text online. So forgive us for not having that, but next time you teach, we can have that printed, but we can probably still read from the few of us who have the books.
This goes to the first part of chapter 3.
Yeah.
There's the last verse there,
Yeah.
the first verse there.
It's right
Okay.
there.
That's really good.
Okay, good. Okay, now we're chapter 3. So chapter 3 is a metaphor for awakened mind. So somehow when we cannot say directly or we cannot address directly to meaningfully, then we can use metaphors or similes to describe. It's like a cloud, it's like a dream, it's like ocean, it's like a mountain, it's like a rainbow, and so forth. So awakened mind describe or just introduce through metaphor. And I read Tibetan and then see. Shung Jobson Jen Zombe Nam Kanda Sam La Jumi Jivi Yorme Mene Jun De Zam Yun De Va Nye Nam Ke Yen She Peram Zomba Zam Zombe Ni Jan De She Sharme Nam Zombe Tong La Zam Ju Kala
Tem água aí, mãe? Hã?
Everything is subsumed within all-inclusive awakened mind. Since there is no phenomena that is not included in awakened mind, the true nature of all phenomena is that of the awakened mind. Space is a metaphor for awakened mind. Since that mind has no cause and is not an object that comes into being, it does not abide in any finite way. It is inexpressible. It transcends the realm of the imagination. The phrase, the realm of space, is simply a way of illustrating it metaphorically. Even the metaphor itself cannot be described as something. How could the underlying meaning that it illustrates be imagined or described? It should be understood as a metaphor for what is naturally pure.
Mm-hmm. So now you see, we went through chapter 1 and chapter 2. Now it's getting easier and easier. Terms and the rhythms and the metaphors are more relevant in here. And of course, Longchenpa's poetic language drawn our attention. So that's why this book is so important, not only the understandable meaning, but it also you can use as a daily chanting book or daily or weekly or monthly. I don't know how much time you have, but you can chant these texts. And the awakened mind is often used as our mind nature, already awakened, so we don't need to re-wake or anything changes, but somehow we need to recognize this nature. And Dzogchen teachings often used as a recognize. Recognition is coming from earlier we say, of course, we are not totally relying on conventional things, but we don't have any other tools. So we humans rely on conventional things. Seems even we say that this working mind has no cause and no objects and beyond kind of expression, but in order to reveal that, seems our conventional things or relative truth is we just cannot ignore because we are trapped in this. Better to act a little bit gently and act logically. I think somehow, I don't know if this is truth or not, but our prison system, if you are rough, unruly, maybe more hurt rather than be nice. If too nice, maybe you are not also good suit in there. So balancing is very important in a samsara. If you stuck on the rules and logics, you follow pretty much or 100% in this way, maybe we never get out of samsara either. So it's a very delicate balance practice rather than what we should do this way or that way. And so this is easy to understand. The waking mind is like space or sky or kind of limitless and without any substance, and anything can occur in this space, but the space itself is never change. Its nature. And then next, you still have next. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think someone can project text on Zoom. So if you have book, please read. If not, someone kindly will share online. Toneraren kanyam yambe sam zambe min sonjun devad ransame yo usar yambe long maye sundo yondon tome chukujon cho nyingbu jeryon 20 page 23 beginning.
The underlining meaning is that awakened mind is self-knowing awareness equal to space. It is not within the realm of the imagination, for it defies illustration or description. Naturally lucid and unwavering, the spacious expanse of utter lucidity is not created and is spontaneously present, with no fixed reach or range. Dharmakaya is the spacious domain that is the heart essence of enlightenment.
Mm-hmm. So here, our discussion earlier, matrix, the Tibetan term long is coming here. And I already mentioned here, translate as a spacious expanse. But that also we can, there's very two close term, that yin and the long. So this long is matrices we could use here, and I don't know if you don't like it, don't have to, but we could experiment term matrix in here. The underlying meaning is the awakened mind. It's self-knowing awareness equal to the space. Of course, we say self-knowing or self-realizing or self-aware. These Dzogchen often use as a Rigpa. Dzogchen Rigpa is awareness that translated in English primordial awareness, pristine awareness, or self-knowing awareness. So this all means the same thing. Rigpa is often treated as our mind nature that also have capacity to realize or understand our mind nature. So that when the conceptual thought is a subside or just dissipate, then our sometimes used as a naked Rigpa is alone. There is no subject-object duality, but it's aware or it's a knowing qualities in there. So this is equal to the space, means the outer space. We think about as a vast, so our mind nature is also very vast. Here, the vast and kind of small scope are collapsed, so it's there's no boundaries. It is not within the realm of the imagination, for it defines illustration or just description. So we cannot talk about what it is. Naturally lucid and unwavering, the spacious matrix or of utter lucidity. More confused? Okay. It's not created, but it is spontaneously present with no fixed, rich or ranged. Dharmakaya is here. Dharmakaya, of course, we English sometimes translate. Do you know how they translate? Usually translate, I think, reality body. Dharmakaya. What else you want to use? Suchness body. Dharmakaya.
Suchness body.
Reality body. So body is interesting thing that in Sanskrit Gaya and Tibetan's Gu is honorific term for body. But you can see Dharmakaya. Dharmakaya is reality body. Dharmakaya is equated to the emptiness or Dharmadhatu. There's no really physical body or not talking about physical body or anything. But still it comes with body. So body means sort of personhood or personified. Somehow there is a person in there. So it cannot have person in a Buddhist teachings, but we somehow need to borrow Sanskrit or Tibetan word to use in English. Is sometimes Tibetan ku means honorific terms already, a Buddha or some higher beings. And of course, English, if you say body, then it doesn't have much meaning, so need to add enlightened body or awakened body or a Buddha body, or sometimes they use a spiritual body or body that's something beyond ordinary body. So here, Dharma body means reality body, Dharma kaya. Dharma means we know phenomena. It's the spacious domain that is the heart essence of enlightenment. So here you can see Tibetan term, the graba or nyingbo, and earlier we talked about mother's womb, that graba is mother's womb, but Tibetan sometimes translate as a nyingbo, the heart essence, rather than the womb here. So you can see the matrix is playing here with the womb and so forth, or essence, core. And one more. Tanazale jayong charwa de sharvitu na sharsa shanken sharjimen zai jina namka riminyam ba jembo obje chabdar songzi mebe lonita.
The evidence is that anything can and does arise due to the dynamic energy of awareness. Even as it arises, there is no place of arising or anything arising. Arising is simply a label for it examined, it is be it like space. Everything being encompassed within the supreme state of equalness without bias constitutes the expanse of infinite evenness, which entails no dualistic perception.
So what here is, of course, most a paradoxical thing. The paradoxical things happened. Paradoxical means two things cannot really fit well in our wonderful mind. This seems like contradict each other, and so that's the one thing. We don't need to think about our normal experience or general experiences, but we are talking about a little bit beyond our experience, and we are sort of brave enough to want to attain enlightenment. In order to do that, since samsara, nirvana is a little bit different than what we normally think, and then our normal experience and the actual reality kind of clash in our mind, and we have these paradoxical things that it's not paradoxical at all, because there's no two things anyway. Keep that in mind, and then accepting these wonderful things will keep coming. I think that today we are run out of our time, maybe. And of course, if you have time, you can read more and share with us next time. And today we stop here. Thank you so much for coming, and we can chant our dedication, I guess.
Okay. Thank you, Khenpo. Turn to page 24. By the virtues collected in the three times by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Drakompa, Ratnashri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara.
Thank you.
Thank you, and afternoon, if you are still like matrix and magical illusion, so this tantra is particularly called magical illusion or magical net.
So thank you very much, Khenpo. I'd like to say on behalf of Drungnor, we're very fortunate to have a resident Lama here at Drupantili Ningpo, who's coming back on Tuesday night. But we're even more fortunate. We go beyond to the other shore, that you have also come to the area and are agreed to come and teach us every once in a while. And so thank you so very much. On behalf of Drungnor, please keep coming back and teaching us. So thank you, Khenpo.
Thank you. Yeah, this really wonderful place that to be, and also, of course, everything due to Drupal Training Rinpoche's hard work and aspiration. And I'm really happy to be here to accumulate a little bit merit for me when I go to Pardo to carry some sack of zamba to and of course then all of sanghas that not only the financially and physically, but also mentally being in here in a one mandala, that's really important. And I see you again and again in the past time and future hopes. So, and if you are not bored to practice or chant together, please keep coming and supporting this center.
Thank you.
I'd like to make an offering for Khenpo, please. And anyone online, you can always make a Khenpo. You can make a donation for Khenpo La online on our webpage or for the center too. Feel free. Thank you. And we will reconvene here at 2 p.m. for the Guyagarbha Root Tantra Lung with Khenpo La. For everyone on the Zoom, the link is now in the chat. Thank you very much. It's a different link than this morning, the same as yesterday.
That too, yeah.
Is the lung on the Guyagarbha Tantra or the commentary?
So the question was the lung on the Guyagarbha Root Tantra or on the commentary this afternoon?
The plan is that both, but probably again we will not finish both. So first Guyagarbha Tantra and then commentary, but if there is I don't know how much time we have, but we talk a little bit about what is today we have practice, yeah?
No, tomorrow there's, Jung has like an introduction to meditation.
What time?
It's 7 to 8. But tonight we can, that's tomorrow. But yeah, we could,
so today,
we could cancel that and have this as a substitute to tomorrow.
Then we see.
But today, 2 to 5.
Yes.
Or later is fine.
2 to 5, and then if
nothing's scheduled tonight.
If we have energy and we have time, then maybe we see also my voice. Sorry, it's very limited. Some Sarek things are. Okay, see you then afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, we have replacements.
You, Kashi delay.
So Khenpo is going to go to lunch, so everybody's invited. I'm not sure where yet, but just so that you know, if you guys want to go, that's the plan. So